With that, I'd like to ask another coach to come forward. This coach is a college coach, Division III, Goucher College, right here in the Baltimore area. Great program, and just a great young man. Brian Kelly, B-R-I-A-N. I have a brother named Brian with B-R-Y-N, so they call it I Kelly, Y Kelly. But I Kelly, special guy, gifted athlete. He and his brothers both were fortunate to play at Hopkins. And Brian's got a story. We probably won't get into all the detail. But besides being the head coach at Goucher, he's now, as Ryan Hornberg said, he just took the role this past August as head over the FCA Maryland Club Lacrosse program and doing a great job. So let's give it up for Coach Brian Kelly.
Good afternoon. Thanks obviously for everybody taking the time out of their day to come and to be a part of a special lunch. Obviously, we've heard that we're not here, by accident, and I believe that because just standing here, I'm just amazed, right? I see young people that are here, and I hear Hilge's story about going to church and not making that connection, and then having FCA in his life for a long time. And here, I'm coming to FCA, at the age of 45, okay, beaten and battered, and coming off of a long run of self-will and a disconnection from God that led to a lot of pain, a lot of darkness. And, so the young people that are in this room, you have that opportunity, to find a relationship with a loving God at an early age. It's something that you may not understand right now. And I didn't understand it when I was younger and being dragged to Catholic Church. But thankfully, the seed was there. And I knew, in that darkness, where I could turn to come into the light. And today, I'm going to read from Psalm 27, just a really short verse. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom should I fear? The Lord is my life's refuge. Of whom should I be afraid? When evildoers come at me to devour my flesh, these my enemies and foes themselves stumble and fall. And on my own, I was the one stumbling and falling. I was dark, I was just miserable. There was a ton of pain. And it wasn't until that pain just, became so much that, I needed something beyond me to help me. And fortunately, a loving God, our personal friend, Jesus Christ, could be our Savior in the way up and out, the way out of the darkness and into the light. And the only reason I know that this particular verse, Psalm 27, my life changed. And I wound up, in this darkness. I was chasing the dollar, commercial real estate, and this is a long way down my story. But every day I had a drink or a drug in my life for 26 years. And the last year I was coaching lacrosse at Goucher College as a volunteer assistant, and I was a hypocrite. And I was telling these young men to do these things, and I wasn't doing it myself. And one day again, came out of the darkness and into the light. And then I got sober and stopped drinking and drugging and doing all that stuff. And I wind up, my life started to change. Things started to change for me. My heart started to open up. And I started to serve other people. And really good things started to happen for me. And then through positive experiences, I wind up, looking at the dollar and saying, it's just not everything there is, And the coaching became more important. And the impact to have on young people. And to take guys that were like me at college, that went to Hopkins, failed out, went to Essex, and then got back into Hopkins, and it was just a train wreck. And to take guys like that and maybe, help them to avoid that. And so my life started changing, and then this opportunity at Goucher presents itself. And I apply. What are you going to do? Just apply. And God, walk away from a ton of money, but God was right there. Through prayer and supplication, I wasn't anxious about it. There was that peace that surpassed all understanding. God said to me, if you're offered the job, take it. I've got you covered. And that has not been a lie. And so I prayed about that. What do you want me to do? And I have this opportunity to impact the lacrosse community. You know, through my story. You know, I hear Frank talk about it all the time. You know, 4 T's: time, treasure, talent, and testimony. And so, you know, that's what I have today because of the light. And again, going back to the Psalm 27, the only reason I know that. So in 2014, I'm the head men's lacrosse coach at Goucher College. And on April 13th, one of my players was hit and killed by a drunk driver. But for the grace of God, I could have been that person behind the wheel at one point in time in my life. I was at one point in time that person. I just, for whatever reason, it didn't happen to me. And I believe that through God's grace, that unmerited gift of favor, that we have the ability to grab that gift and take it and use it. God has a foreknowledge. That he knows that if you're given this gift and you accept it, you're going to do good things with it. And I believe that to my heart. And God continues to bless me and gift me. And on that day I had a peace in me. And I was picking up this family from Baltimore Washington International Airport who's flying in from Texas to come here to shock trauma. And I needed to find a way to connect to them. And I prayed, and I was led to Facebook, and on Facebook to learn more about my player. Because I coached the guy, but I just didn't know how I could connect to him. You know, again, he would come in, I would see him, I'd sit down with him, but did I truly know him? And so I went digging into Facebook, and more about Matthew. On his Facebook page was this Psalm 27. And so I'm able to, pick this family up, and we started talking. And I come to find out, because I just spent 5 days with the family in Austin, Texas over the holidays, that as we were riding in the car, that Mrs. Gabriel, on the entire plane ride here to Baltimore, was searching, for some connection to Matthew. That he knew the Lord in some deep way. She knew that he had faith and he was part of youth groups and all this stuff, but she wasn't really sure. And then when I brought up Psalm 27 as his life verse, she found this unbelievable peace in her on that day. And she knew that, God was calling him home, that his time here was done, that baptismal promise that he received the day he was baptized, that God had made good on that, and that nothing more separated him. And as we're driving up the road, she looks to her right, and she sees an MTA bus that has a 27 on it. And she was like, that's it. That was all I needed. No matter what she walked in and what she saw when she saw her son, who was hooked up to a ventilator and was helping him breathe, she was able to walk in there with peace. And the great thing about this story is, is that I was able to be there because of God to help lead 40 young men through it. They don't have resentments today towards that driver because they could hear the word and the truth and the Bible speak to them through me. And that was only because God poured into my life at times. So I'm grateful and thankful, for the tragedies and the tough times and the darkness, because on the other side of darkness is light. The other side of darkness is light. We have hope. God gives us that hope. It's up to us to be open-minded and willing to grab that hope and move it forward. Using our time, our treasure, our talent, our testimony. And that's where FCA comes in, as just feeling convicted, as I continue to walk as a man, to grow in my faith, and this opportunity presented itself. And I'm so thankful because I have the opportunity to be connected with people that believe and to pour encouragement into my life. And that I know will help have that impact on this next generation. That you guys will have that hope. The young people that are in this room, that you'll have that hope that God offers to us. It's amazing. It's an amazing gift if we're willing to grab it and use it for our good and ultimately for his good. So thanks for coming out.